She's the one. Hello guys, I'm Jérémy. I'm very happy to introduce you with that guy.
Hello, I'm Sophie and I'm very happy to present our great movie, The Great Traverse. Every time we screen the documentary with people, something magical happens because we feel the energy we had during the journey, you know, all the strength, all the dreams, everything we've had during that moment, we have it again with the people. So it's always something really beautiful to live together because I kind of feel that we spread, I don't know, good energy all together in one room, and it's always very interesting how people can also reflect themselves on us. Because everyone, of course, fall during your life. You know, you will have to fall at some point, somewhere, somehow, and everybody knows that feeling and can relay. And it's always very interesting to see how it can move people also this way.
Originally, the plan is not to make a movie. It's never about that when we go in Alaska. Because at first we want to basically cross the planet, cycling on the largest continent on Earth from north to south, so basically American continent. And we go there and we kind of know what feeling we're gonna go through, and we say we can't keep it for ourselves. So let's do something quite good for society. Let's create an organization, let's share it with kids, and then 50 schools all across France, 6,000 kids followed up the journey. And then the idea of documenting all this sharing appears through videos, making by Sophie every single month, 5 minutes video per month, and also capturing pictures and writing from myself, newspapers for the kids. And all this, we just came back to France, and Sophie looked back at all the rush of the videos and said, wow, maybe there's enough stuff to make a movie, and there's stories to make a movie. That's when the idea occurred.
Of course, it was stressful for the two of us because it was the first time we would go abroad for that much long time. And it was, of course, difficult to plan ourselves, like, who will we be in 2 years? Are we gonna still be together in 2 years? You know, it's not something like you kind of think of because you have so much to focus on before. But I guess that we trusted each other because we were together for already 3 years. We have been together for already 3 years before the departure. And we kind of, you know, tested ourselves already, crossing Scotland, crossing small islands in Europe, just walking. And it was the first time that we would go cycling. So it was a new adventure, and I guess we were, the two of us, very excited about it. So at first sight, of course, it was challenging because you have to know that you are going in the same direction, but with different feelings and different point of views. And you have to find a balance together between all of this, because I was carrying the food and he was carrying the tent and the boiler. So of course we had to find a way to be together, you know. And I guess we did, but it wasn't easy, of course. It's not something that you want to idealize because it's not. It's always difficult.
That's quite an easy one, actually, because Sophie said it was our first bike trip, which is actually kind of wrong because I did 2 bike trips across France and I knew a bit about it. Sophie was the very first time on a bicycle with shifting gears, basically. She had no idea what will happen. And we made it to Alaska, and I was much more of a techie and a bit more into sport. Whenever Sophie was much more into the picture, into the movies and photographies because of her work as a journalist also. And when we were together, I wanted to push myself a bit stronger because I had in the back of my head always the big goal of traversing the entire continent. And to me, it was a huge challenge, and it had to be physical. Sophie was a bit different. She was less physical, but at the same time, she was highly mental. And the willing she had was as strong as the physical. And in the end, it was just about to find a balance between our two worlds, two vision, and we kind of did. Oh, we did.
Yeah, but it took like a few months to find that balance, to be honest. It is so difficult because I think it's not a lot. We didn't take a lot of pictures during the journey because we were so much focused on living the thing, you know. And then, of course, if we can share some pieces of it, we will film or we will take some pictures. But I would say during a week, we would take the camera maybe 3 times, 4 times. Otherwise, we would just live the moment. And sometimes when we really wanted to film like a meeting, like someone or so, we would of course ask the permission, but also we would explain that it would be for that kids program. So otherwise, yeah, I would say there's less than 4,000 pictures.
Yeah,
it's not a lot. No. Like you can take like 4,000 pictures in like 1 week trip. But we did in 2 years' time. But they are very precious pictures for us because they are connected to deep feelings and deep connection with what we were doing at this time. And
every single picture has its own meaning, and that's how it's very strong to us, and maybe strong to the people also.
And just to complete, it was the same with the video. Like when we came back, and when I look at all the videos I've made, there is maybe less than, I would say, 20 hours of videos in 2 years and a half. So it's not a lot. So same, like to build a documentary, the long version, short version you will see in the EOFT, it's just a glimpse of what happened in this great journey. And the rest, of course, it is something that is so powerful, so strong, that some pieces you don't even want to share it because it's your treasure and you want to keep it for yourself. But you share the emotion of it. So you keep the souvenir, but you share the emotion you've had during the journey. So.
Basically, we started with a small woofer to have like music with us. But it's happened that after 1 week, we just say, that's pointless. That's just pointless. And then we get the read out of it. We gave it to some people on the road in Alaska. And it turns out we just were so much focused on the idea of getting our senses activated. I mean, the touch, I mean, the hearing. Hearing is so important, you know, and also feeling of the wind and all what surrounds us gets so much important thanks to our senses. So basically, we were not talking to each other too much. Sometimes we were, because we had to discuss about life, philosophy of travel, also about experiences. But at some point, we had to get quiet and get concentrated on those senses. And senses, to us, was the great open door to emotions. And then we can link that to the previous question because, you know, senses and emotions are deeply connected to us.
Sometimes, you know, when you go out and you go like sleeping, living in the nature, for some people, after a few days, you can already feel that connection. But usually for, I would say, most of us, it would take like between 2 to 3 weeks to start to feel something different and start to feel that you listen more, you smell more, you see more, and you feel also inside of you that your instinct is coming back. And this is very magical to notice the evolution of it and see how every day you get more and more into that connection with like everything, like yourself. You listen to your heartbeat, you can hear it. And sometimes you see and you feel that there's absolutely no noise around you. And this is crazy to see how luxury it is today to have this moment of true silence when you just listen to what surrounds you, which is nature sounds. And this is very, very special.
I think also this is happening whenever we are going through places that are very hostile to human. I mean deserts of ice, deserts of sand, rock, altitudes where there's a lack of oxygen and so on. Those places are the places where you feel that life is fragile. And that fragility has to deal with the deep connection with nature. Because whenever you feel that in these deserts, 4,000, 5,000 meters elevation, and you go through it without water, and you have to sustain yourself with all what you need, then you are fragile, then you consider life, then you're part of nature. And that's a very big climax of the travel.
In this kind of journey, but in every kind of journey, you need that moment when you are in your bubble and when you are alone in connection with nature, but you always also need that connection with people, because it's all connected and you cannot have just one without the other one. It's, you know, it's all together. And of course you want to see animals, of course you want to see that beautiful tree, that beautiful rock, that beautiful river, but you also want to meet that people that lives here, because he's part of it. And it's always so beautiful to meet people on the way, and like new people every day. Like you can say hello like thousands times a day, because you will meet so many people, and it's so great to see that when you say hello and when you say goodbye, it's like goodbye but forever, because you will never see these people again. And it is so poetic, I would say, to experience this. And sometimes you meet somebody for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you drink a coffee, and then when you say goodbye, you just cry, because you had that super deep connection with these people. And you meet like grandmothers, you meet mothers, you meet dad, you meet brothers and sisters on the way. You feel that it's so, yeah, everyone is connected to each other, and it's so great to see how the humankind is very nice.
People's interaction is very different in a way that also the cycle paths we go through is not the main roads. And one thing we kind of avoid, not totally avoid, but kind of avoid all the way, was the tourism place. And we always stepped in the mountains, and we always stepped in small villages where there are people who are not used to see tourism or travelers people. So the connection with those guys is just awesome, because they want to welcome you, they want to know more about you, and that is very strong. But that is not very true also everywhere, because some places are living difficulties according to the economy, according to politics. Some places are dangerous. Some places people don't like to welcome you. Some places you feel not welcome, but this is part of it. This is part of planet Earth, and we're not naive people. We know that there are some good and some bad, and you have to find a balance between all these kind of people. And in the way, the entire experience is a very human experience, let's say.
At the very beginning of the adventure, I have a very bad accident with a truck, and I have a broken shoulder, I have a head trauma, and I had to stop cycling for a month and a half. So it was pretty huge, especially after 2 years of preparation for this kind of journey. So of course it was a big trauma, that's the word, for the two of us, not just for me, because I don't have any memories of that day, like it's like a washout, you know. Jérémy had to take care of me and take care of the situation, so it was very traumatic for him too. And at the end of the journey, because at the beginning, when you are into something, sometimes you just, you know, you rush yourself, you feel and you act. Something happens, you have to find a solution and you go for it. But I would say now, like long time after, and even when we came home, that thanks to this accident, we made it to Ushuaia, because it gave us exactly the strength we needed to go to the very end of the American continent. And maybe if I didn't have that accident, maybe we would have broke up. Maybe we would have done something completely different. You never know. But this thing happened, and we found ourselves again because we had to face it together. Otherwise, there's no way to do something together. And we've met so many people, incredible people. We never filmed them because it was so emotional for us. They took care of us and they helped us going back. They just gave us some great hands to grab and to stand up again. So I would say that thanks to this accident, we've made everything that we wanted to do afterwards.
When you face the worst in the very first days, when you face the greatest fear of passing away, basically, because it could have happened, then you just realize that going through a mountain of 5,000 meters is just kind of a kid game. I mean, it's not a kid game, but it's doable, it's feasible, and compared to the worst of the worst, to that accident, then anything can happen but good. And you try to just play in that direction, because the worst is not in the back. It can happen anytime, but you accept it. Because you are into the acceptance out of it, then anything is possible.
And that would connect maybe to one sentence that a lady told us at the very end of the journey. And that was very crazy to listen to her at this special moment. It was 3 days before arriving to Ushuaia. And we've met that lady. She just lost her husband, and she was just taking care of the restaurant they had been working on together for more than 40 years. And she told us, but don't worry. En la vida nada es terrible, todo es posible. In life, nothing is terrible, everything is possible. And that connected us to the journey, to what we have endured, to what she has endured, and she's still enduring. And it's just life. And life is like this. It's always terrible, but it's always so beautiful, even if it's not logic. And you always want to take the risk for it. So.